guys, welcome back to the show. We got a great episode and interview planned for today. We are going to be talking to Reem. Now, Reem is an NFT artist in the space, living the Web3 dream. Going to be a speaker down in Miami and at the Web3 Summit, the Women of Web3. Very excited. Are you pumped to be down in Miami?
I'm so excited. Yeah.
Because you're going to be traveling internationally to come in.
Yeah, I'm coming in from Spain.
What a
Yeah.
fun trip. Now, what excites you the most of coming in for, arguably people would say is probably one of the biggest Web3 weeks, here in the United States, because you got Art Basel, and then you've got, 4 or 5 other conferences happening all simultaneously. It is such an exciting week. What is going to be your most exciting thing to see or do while you're down there?
Honestly, just being around women in Web3 is going to be really exciting. Like the first conference, so excited to see everyone who's like getting shit done in the space. And Art Basel, I feel like I missed it last year. My friend invited me, but it wasn't a right time, and it was such a great time. It was a great, it would have been a great opportunity to meet other artists and just people who are active and pushing for the space to grow. So I'm excited for those two aspects of it: the women's side, building, and just meeting more artists.
Absolutely. I could not agree more with you about being there and being in the presence of some badass, powerful women in the space. I'm a husband. I'm also a girl dad. I have raised my daughter so far as much as I can in the space. I've taken her to about 10 conferences now, and she's just a year old. So I want her to really, really enjoy the ecosystem. And so I'm a champion. I'm an advocate for, the women of Web3 mantra. Like I let's go for it. Like I said in another interview recently, like I want, the entire C-suites of all these projects to be filled with women. The capabilities that everybody has, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't be, based on a gender, right? Like it's all about your capability and your contribution, and that's all that should be judged.
Yeah.
So tell me about your project. What are you doing right now? What are you going to be chatting about in Miami?
Yeah. So for me, I was one of the first, I was definitely not in the first music artists to do it. But I've experimented a lot with NFTs as a way to create more of a close-knit community and offering and bringing, for me, actually, Web3 was an opportunity to open up before I was ready. So what I found in the Web3 space as an artist is that you're able to share your work with the people who want to support it, and you're able to share work that's not necessarily finished, but like your work in progress, and share the thought process behind it. And people really value that. So what I did that kind of brought a lot of people along is I shared songs that had not been released yet. And I kind of painted a story, a love story, and I brought people onto a story, and each song was a different part of the story. And I had Twitter spaces where people could come and just like share their experience of that moment in the relationship. And so what this NFT, and each one was an NFT. So this NFT thing helped me build a community around like feelings, I want to say, like that's far from the like floor prices and the like we're all going to make it vibe of the rest of the NFT space. So what I would be talking about is how you can create a little bit of a bubble, as it like a little bit of your own universe. And what's beautiful in the NFT space is, as you know, you don't need 10,000 people to believe in the project for it to have ground. You just have to be so clear about what you're creating, and the right people, they really stick. Like people are still asked. I stopped doing the spaces because I got busy with like real life, like regular life. But people message me asking like, "Are you gonna do those NFT Mondays again? Like Music Mondays? Like we like that we got to share and hear the stories, especially when like I started it as the market was crashing,
Yeah.
and so those spaces became kind of like a safe space where you could just be human,
Yeah, absolutely.
away from like and so yeah, and so I'd like to talk about that, about how no matter what the market is doing, art serves a different purpose, and you get to be that person as an artist to reconnect people with their soul, with like who they are as humans outside of like all of these accomplishment things. So that would be kind of like what I would bring to from my experience, from how I experienced it so far.
I think that's like honestly like that perspective, it's so fresh. It's amazing. It makes me feel good inside to hear that. And I've been in the crypto space for several years. I've seen a lot of the market cycles. I've seen a lot of toxicity. I've been scammed, all that stuff. So like, I come with a jaded perspective on a lot of it, like with the privacy and the security of it. And to hear what you say, where like, it doesn't matter what the markets are doing, like what you've done, you've created something that people truly enjoy, and it's special. It's special to you and it's special to them. And it's on such a personal level, right? Because like what you were talking about, like, like it's unfinished and they get to watch the progress of it happen. And that is like, and that like on an intimate level, of creation and art, like that, where do you see that? Like you don't get a front row seat to like a painting or like an artist, like, like how, what kind of
The
brush strokes should I
process.
put here, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
so,
Or
like
what emotion fueled it that day.
it's it's so there's two things that I want to unpack on that whole thing. And it's like two critical elements of this entire Web3 ecosystem, and it's community and it's access. Like without the community, us as artists, creators, all that, we don't have a whole lot. And so the importance of building your community, massive,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely massive. And
Mm-hmm.
then and so what do you think about that?
So, I didn't go in thinking I'm going to build my community. I went in just like any entrepreneur, you build what you wish you would have found,
Mhm.
right? So I used to trade. I traded for like 3 years. So I was in the toxic groups and I was in the the broy environment, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what I wish I would find is a place where I can just be, because outside of this, oh, I made 1,000% on this, oh, I lost 300% on this trade, and I hit my stop loss, and like all of these talks, behind all that, we're getting our hearts broken. We're getting a baby girl that was born. We're getting all of these things that are not related to crypto, but are part of our human experience. And I felt like there was no room for that in any of the trading groups, any of the people I was following, and so I was like, you know what? I created that thing for me. I was like, I need it because right now everything's crumbling and I need to remember that there's something beyond this. So um community, I feel, is built around a need for connection.
Love it.
So like communities are built around we're all going to make it and making millions and being financially free, and that's perfectly okay. What I needed was a community where I could be broken
Mhm.
and be okay. i
Oh,
i didn't want to.
100%. I'm finding myself in a lot more Twitter spaces with the same people that the theme is mental health and it's not PFPs. That seems to be really, really important to a lot of people right now. And I appreciate that. And going back to my, the second half of it was the accessing that kind of space. And we talked about safe spaces before, like, even, during the
Yeah.
pandemic time, like I think we're back to it now, especially with what's going on in the market. It's going to be a rough couple years. This is going to be a shaky point, but like the fact that you've built something, like you said, it's your own little ecosystem where you get to create, you get to do what you love, and you have a supportive group of people around you that want the same thing for you. And I think that is like,
Hmm.
what the heck, man? Like that's not, I don't think, been done before.
It's incredible. The people that would come in my DMs and be like, I don't want to go on stage. Like, I don't want to be a speaker. I don't want to talk about it, but this is what's happening to me. And it, it resonated with me so much. And I'm like, these are like traders, like big shot traders that I looked up to. And we're like, hey, I just came into your space. And then I love how you talked about this thing. I'm going through this with my girlfriend right now. And this, and I'm just like, oh shit, like people are keeping it together because, survival, but
But they're
that
people too.
soft
We're
people
people.
too.
We're all just people. And that's like,
We're all just people.
and like not to sound like whatever, but that's the beauty of the metaverse to me. And like and I love the idea of the metaverse, and not from a gaming aspect of it. I will
Hmm.
forever maintain I'm not a gamer. That doesn't excite me about the metaverse. What does is the connection. And again, it's like back to that access and community. But really, like in the metaverse, like if you want to be a whatever, you could be a whatever. If you want to, it doesn't matter, and it's all back to that same,
Yeah.
inclusivity of what women in Web3 is all about. Everybody's
Yeah.
equal, everybody gets to play the same role, and you get the same opportunity. And I will maintain it's all about, your creativity, it's your contribution, and that's all that matters
Mm-hmm.
in this new space. And that to
Mm-hmm.
me is where this is all going, and the writing is clearly on the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. About the metaverse, you know how people are like, oh, because if you go to in the metaverse, you get to be whoever you want. And what I found is because most people are anons on Twitter, they were able to come into my space and be fully themselves, actually. Like instead of like the metaverse or like this virtual world allowing you to be somebody else, it's actually because of the anonymity allowing you to be you. And I thought that was so beautiful because they could talk to me and like say things. I have no idea who they are. Like I could know them in real life and I wouldn't know that that's the person that opened up to me in that spaces. And so I think it gives this opportunity for people to be even more real and connect in a deeper way just by finding these little pockets of communities that they really, really profoundly relate to. And yeah, I thought that was really like it became bigger than what I thought it would be. Like,
Wow, you just like
I
blew my
was just
mind there.
not for real. But I realized that by doing those spaces,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, but people are anonymous. So they can just come and say, hey, this guy, super popular, comes up to me and he goes, oh, I really related to that thing because I proposed to my girlfriend and she said no. And she was my, like, that guy's like super established. And he's like, I never said it before. And he came on the spaces and shared that story. And I was just like, okay, but because there is this little bit of a distance,
Yeah. See, now
people
I
can just
see,
be,
and why, why I say you blow my mind is because, like, and maybe it's just, again, it's the jaded nature of, kind of the thought process behind this, is that people would use the metaverse to, be more of the keyboard cowboy, where, you get those muscles behind a keyboard, you get, behind a screen, you can be that tough person, but in real life you wouldn't be. Whereas, maybe it allows people to be more vulnerable. Because yeah, you're not going to see my face. Like, you might hear my voice, but you don't know who I am in the real life. And I
yeah,
think that, that
you can't judge me.
you can't judge me, and that's a cool perspective to think about it. And that's a
Yeah.
again that's a fresh, I love that. And that to me again is also the beauty of the metaverse, and why, the freedom, and where that's all going, for all of us. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope, like, 10 years from now, my daughter, when she's 10, that she's, doing school in the metaverse, and that she does a lot in the metaverse. And I think that, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a great place for a lot of good reasons. Ultimately, there could be some bad
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but I let save that for someone else to talk about.
Yeah. Let's talk about the possibilities of how great it could be, all these micro communities where people get to be fully themselves. I'm like, if I can contribute to that, that's going to be my take on the metaverse.
So now, are you going to be performing anything while you're there? Or are you just going to be speaking?
I am. I'm technically on standby for performing, so I'll be there and I'll be ready.
Okay.
Usually that goes really well for me. So usually being ready is a good thing,
Good.
being available. So I'm still waiting and I should get confirmation within like the next week. So
How long is your performance?
it should be about 20 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes is like six. It's a lot. In pop, it's like six songs. So I don't do the whole songs because people don't know them. So I've learned from experience to keep them a little bit shorter and just show a wider palette of the songs.
Well, Reem, I appreciate you took some time out of your day. I know it's a little bit
Yeah.
later in your day than it is for mine, but
Mhm.
if people wanted to learn more about you, where can they
Yeah.
find you on social media, website, all that kind of stuff? And then we will make sure to put, all the links down in the description below so people can click to it.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah. So I'm Reem underscore Salmi on Twitter and Reem Salmi on everything else. So YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, those are my most active. And in my link in bio, I have my NFTs, the
Very
link to my
cool.
NFTs. So yeah.
Awesome.
And
Awesome. Well, I
come talk to
appreciate
me.
you.
I love to talk to people.
Cool. Well, I will definitely see you down in Miami. Look forward to seeing you and
Yeah,
watching the performance and hanging out in beautiful Miami, Florida. So safe travels,
for
and I'll
sure.
see you in just
Thank you so much.
a few weeks.